Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome in. This is a brand new episode of Snaps, your favorite college football podcast, or at least we hope it is. I'm TBob Bear. He's Aaron Murray. I am so excited to be back in my office, back in Baton Rouge, back to our normal schedule. A huge thank you to Savannah Quarterback Club having me out there. It was very, very fun. Absolutely beautiful city, but I am a creature of habit and whatever. It just feels so good to be back in the studio. And I'm so excited to be back here with you for another preview episode of Snaps. We break down all the biggest games. What up, Aaron Murray? What's happening?
I got the best text message Monday night. TBob, as he just announced, was at the Savannah Quarterback Club. I know the guy that runs the Savannah Quarterback Club, and I got a text message about 8:00 at night that said, "Whoo, unfiltered." I was like, "Yes, make me proud, TBob. Make me proud." And he said, "No, TBob absolutely killed it. Definitely was unfiltered, but did a tremendous job, which we all know here on Snaps that he would knock it out of the ballpark."
Look, man. I told they kept telling me to let it loose. And I asked a couple times, are you sure? Are you sure? And there was still some shit I kept back, but I said, are you sure? They said, yeah. I said, okay. Hey, if you tell a shooter to shoot, he's gonna fucking shoot. You know what I'm saying? They gave me the green light. I'm putting it up for behind the arc.
Those South Georgians haven't heard a tongue like that in a long time. So how many F-bombs did you drop?
Not many.
Okay.
Not many. A few. A tasteful handful,
okay.
I would say. I did tell the story about you fucking my friend's girlfriend in college.
Oh, I got brought up in this. Okay.
Yeah. Well, apparently you showed up and just talked about all the women you betted in college. That's what everybody kept talking about. They're
what?
Like, man, must have been good to be QB1 at Georgia. Like, did you just go up there and you were like, and then this one night I begged this chick, and then this other night I begged this chick?
I went through an entire PowerPoint presentation. I just had a PowerPoint presentation, you know?
Yeah. This is Molly. Okay. She was a fifth-year Kappa when I was a freshman. You just went down person by person. Yeah, you're right, Nuju. My dial does stay on 11, and y'all are catching me on an especially hot day right now. This place, 7 Brew over here in Baton Rouge, brought us like 18 cups of coffee this morning, and I just keep fucking drinking them. And you know what? I'm thinking? I'm just thinking about LSU Ole Miss on Saturday. Fucking fired up. And I do commercials, Aaron. I do commercials for Goodwood, a men's health clinic, right? For ED and shit, like any good radio man. So I officially declared this Saturday night in Death Valley. How great is this? It's called Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Goodwood. Yeah, Goodwood, right? So this is a Goodwood game. You know fucking why? Because we're going to make it hard, and we're going to stay fucking hard for 60 minutes, for 3.5 hours. Make it tough on the Rebs this Saturday night. All right. We'll get to it. We don't have to break it down here.
Baskins, Ole Miss by 10. I kind of like that. We'll break it down, though.
Yeah, you better fucking hope so, Dylan. You better fucking hope so, okay? Because all I know, if Ole Miss wins that game by 10 in that environment Saturday, then that's a damn good Ole Miss team. Because it's gonna be rowdy. It's gonna be rowdy. Anyway, let me finish getting out this tweet, and then we'll dive into our games.
Okay.
You have to like fill the dead air.
I don't know.
People know they can watch here. I'm quote tweeting the here or hop over to YouTube.
All right, these are the games we're breaking down today: Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Oregon, Florida, Tennessee, Penn State, USC, Ole Miss, LSU, and then round it off in the Big 12 a little Kansas State going to Colorado late night there in Boulder. It's a good slate. It's a significantly better slate of games this week, and it'll be funny if it does not produce as much as it did last weekend.
It almost never does. I mean, it definitely might, but like, again, we have to let go of this notion of knowing which slate is going to be good or bad, because regardless of what we think going in, it almost always ends up being better. Like, yeah, there might be a couple of weeks where it's not, but whatever. And the other thing that we've talked about on this show before, I think remains true, which is simply that Look up your average life. Look up the average life expectancy of a male in America. Let's say it's like 72. Subtract your age from that. Multiply that times 12. That's how many of these you got left, guys. We don't have many college football Saturdays. It is a finite resource. So what are we going to do every Saturday? We're going to approach it with fucking clear eyes, an open heart, and a belly full of want to. We're going to approach every weekend with a sincere and genuine love of the sport, and we will be rewarded for it.
Amen. Let's go.
It's going to be fucking awesome. Charles gets it. Only get 12 college football Saturdays a year. You got to cherish him. Thank God. Thank God for the playoffs that we're going to get just a couple extra now as well. All right, so let's start then with the Triple R, one of my favorite action movies ever, and really one of the only kind of Bollywood movies that I've ever watched, the Triple R, but also the Red River Rivalry, a game between Texas and Oklahoma that is as big as the state itself. It's at the state fair. It's insane every single year. Aaron, what's your starting point for this game this season?
Can Ewers not shit the bed in the first quarter like he did last year? I mean, do you remember that first quarter he came out there and looked so lost? It was this great performance from Alabama. We're all riding high on Texas. And then to start the game, Ewers throws a couple interceptions and he looked very similar to what Carson Beck looked like the other day versus Alabama, where it's like, what are you looking at? What throws are you making? I haven't seen you do this the entire season. And then all of a sudden you play a big time game against a big time rival and the moment's a little bit too big for you. So for me, I just want to see Quinn go out there because he's going to be a little rusty. He hasn't played in about 4 weeks now. He's going to be the start.
Week. He started taking 1 reps again last week.
It's not game reps. He hasn't played a football game in a month. How rusty and how rusty and can he be good in the moment? I played in a neutral site game. I was Georgia versus Florida. I was 3-1 in this football game versus Florida. 3-1. My stats were shit though. Shit. I feel like I threw 2 or 3 picks my first 3 years in that football game. Threw a bunch of touchdowns. I think I threw like 3 touchdowns, but I also threw a lot of interceptions, like stupid interceptions that I usually don't make those kind of mistakes. I was making those mistakes in that game. So can Quinn prove to me that he can go into a rivalry game against a good defense, a defense that's been playing well this season, and not make the mistakes that put them behind the 8 ball a year ago?
So it's interesting. I have almost no doubt in my mind that Quinn's going to be completely fine. More than that, if he makes those exact same mistakes last year, it won't matter. Unfortunately, this is not an Oklahoma team that can take advantage of said mistakes this time around. To me, I'm going to build off of a theme from Monday's show where we come out of last weekend and we say, okay, well, do we have a gorilla in the room? Do we have a prohibitive favorite for a champion? And as we said, Texas is still potentially that, and Ohio State is still potentially that. So this is another great step for Texas to take to prove that the incredible stats that they have on paper are not just because they played teams that have significantly less talent than them, but in a team like Oklahoma where they should still, I think Texas should win big, but Oklahoma is better. Can you take another step towards proving to be that prohibitive favorite? Like, we're not going to crown you. I mean, even if you dominate this game, we could maybe crown you. Yeah. But really, it's going to be Georgia next week. But this is still a step forward. My problem is, Aaron, and like, we talk about that. I kind of floated this out there a little bit this morning with Jake, and he's like, seems to like disagree. This game's always close, and look what people said Texas was going to kill them last year, and look what Oklahoma did. I don't think Oklahoma stands a snowball's chance in hell in this game.
Unless Michael Hawkins Jr., who you talk about the bye week for Quinn Ewers, he's now had a couple games under his belt. He just went to Auburn, and found a way to win that football game. They should be getting healthier at the receiving position.
Found a way to win by getting a pick six. Like,
we found a way to win.
Talked about
he didn't make a mistake though. He has not made many mistakes as a young quarterback. He's had a week more, and now he's getting healthier around him at the receiving position. Is he just the type of quarterback that the moment's not too, like I brought up Quinn. The moment last year was too big for Quinn. Michael Hawkins Jr. seems like the guy that no matter what the situation is, just says, hey, give me the damn football. Watch me go out there and play. We've seen him go out there now for 2 weeks and not be phased. Wasn't phased versus Tennessee. Wasn't phased versus, didn't play. It wasn't like spectacular, but didn't really fuck up though either.
You ain't gonna beat Texas not fucking up.
I know. I agree.
Felice,
it was only his first start on the road. It was his first start on the road.
In the chat, Felice says, remember Vanderbilt? Okay, how did Vanderbilt win? Because Diego Pavia made fucking plays.
Exactly.
Time and time again.
Yep.
Oklahoma's offense has not proven to be able to at all. And guess what? Texas right now, defensively, number 1 scoring defense in the SEC. Number 1 pass defense in the SEC. Number 2 total defense in the SEC. Let's look at Oklahoma's offense. 13th in the SEC in points per game, dead last in the SEC in rush yards, dead last in pass yards, obviously also dead last in total yards. They're the only team in the SEC averaging under 300 total yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Vanderbilt's offense is significantly better than Oklahoma's offense. OU is cooked.
I'm just trying to make a case for why this could be competitive or how it, like the path to being competitive. I'm with you. I'm not disagreeing at all. Like I'm not here saying that Oklahoma has a chance to win this football game. Texas to me is going back to our conversation 2 days ago, is in the same ballpark as Ohio State right now. They look really good on both sides of the football. Texas maybe, obviously not maybe, but is significantly better at the quarterback position than Ohio State. Texas should not only win this game, Texas should win by double digits. There's no doubt about it. I'm just painting the path for Oklahoma of how do we get a moment in which this game is somewhat competitive. And it does start with Michael Hawkins continuing to protect the football and then making some plays with his legs. And then obviously you were throwing a couple early picks possibly.
You're going to need
a bunch of stuff,
non-offensive touchdowns from Oklahoma to win this game. Aaron, pull up all the odds and we can choose the game. And then we can also choose the game against the line. I think this is 14. I'm taking Texas to cover the 14. 15. Also, if anybody's wondering about, 15 is a little more. If anybody's wondering about Quinn's health, this is from Anwar Richardson, who, is a reporter who covers Texas for OrangeBuds.com. This is from October 2nd, so a full week ago. According to multiple sources, Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers participated in practice Tuesday, received the first team reps. I was told, quote, Quinn is playing against Oklahoma. No way he misses this game or the rest of the season. He wants to win SC and Natty. So Quinn, that was last week, bye week. Quinn is fully healthy.
Yep.
Good to go. The offense is incredible. The defense is great. Oklahoma's defense is good, maybe even in between good and great, but their offense is shit.
Well, Michigan's defense is also really good, as we've seen, and they went in there and put up 31 points. So like
it was nothing.
Yeah, it's going to be the same kind of feeling of at some point the defense is just going to get worn down from having to continue be on the field and feel like they have to win this football game. And it may work early. It may be like the first quarter, Oklahoma is coming out swinging on defense or making some plays or, forcing Texas to kick field goals or punt the football, whatever it may be. But then all of a sudden it's just the dam is going to break. The dam is going to break. Sark's going to scheme up a couple wide open plays. And then all of a sudden you're going to look up and bang, it's a 2-score game. And it's going to happen that freaking fast. Like whoosh, end of the second quarter, beginning of the third quarter, you look up and it's 21-3.
Perfect Craig says you're picking this game like it's your first time watching this game. But I'm going to let a comment argue against that for me. Green with Envy says throw out the stats only works when both teams are closely matched.
Yep.
Exactly. This is not a throw out the stats game. And some, I do not see the path at all for Oklahoma here. The one path they could have would be what we've seen in the biggest upsets this year, which is if they somehow engineer game plan where they have 40 minutes time of possession. That's the only, I'm not
with
joking.
you.
That's how Kentucky beat Ole Miss.
Yes.
It's how Arkansas beat Tennessee. It's how Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Like, how in the world?
But once again, like all three of those games, and I know this is somewhat road, but all three of those games were on the road. So a little bit different of an atmosphere. Arkansas was rowdy that night. Vanderbilt doesn't really count. That was mostly Alabama fans. And then what was the other one? Was Kentucky home or was Kentucky at Ole Miss? Actually, Kentucky was at Ole Miss. Makes that even more impressive.
At home, dude.
Yeah, that actually makes that even more impressive.
Yeah.
No, that's the only path. So once it goes back to Michael Hawkins Jr. running the football.
Exactly. What? I mean, like, that's not going to be enough, I don't think.
No.
Royal Payne says you always have to allow for a black swan turnover game. Look, it's real life, stranger things have fucking happened. I'm not saying that there is always the one reality out of the 100 where something wild happens, but I'll be damned if you're going to get me to sit here and predict that's going to happen, because I don't see it. Quinn is back healthy. Quinn's locked in. I think Texas is going to dominate this game. I take them to cover the 15 easy.
Quinn last year, 31 of 37, 346, 1 touchdown. Those 2 picks were, I believe, in the first quarter. Then from there, he was lights out. Still lost the football game. I'm with you. Like Quinn's locked in. Quinn's playing better, the best football of any quarterback in the country when healthy. Receivers are great. Offensive line is maybe the best offensive line in the country. Defense is playing at a different level. There's just a massive talent gap this year. This is not
incredible in this game last year too. He led that awesome game-winning drive. Like Texas has gotten so much better than last year, and Oklahoma has gotten so much worse. It's exactly why I kept talking about Oklahoma finding ways to lose the Big 12 last year. They ruined their opportunity.
Well, Dylan ran for 113 last year. Like that's what Hawkins gonna have to do. He's gonna have to run for 100
plus
yards.
What did he throw for?
He also threw for 285.
Yeah,
and no turnovers.
Yeah.
They won the turnover battle last year 3-0. 3-0. They won the turnover battle, and it took a last-second drive to win the football game.
So if they can use quarterback run super effectively, if they can have a very high percentage of third downs converted, maybe. I'm not betting on it. Give me the Longhorns and give me Texas big.
Hook them. Give me Texas big too. I'll take them.
15.
Yep, I'll take them to cover 15.
Okay. Next up on the list, the actual biggest game of the weekend, for sure, and that is Ohio State, Oregon. Once again, let's revisit our theme from Monday. Is there a gorilla? Is there a prohibitive favorite? Ohio State looks to be, I would say, the closest to being that team. This, though, will be their first real test in which we can figure out some of the truth of that matter. How about this for an oversight on our part, Aaron? So in that Monday show, we did our tier 1 championship contenders, tier 2 championship contenders. We did not mention Oregon. Not once. Did not put them as our first tier contenders or second tier contenders. That's how bad the start was from Oregon, is that everybody, including us, just started to ignore them, and they've kind of been getting quietly better in the background.
They're giving up a lot of rushing yards, but no, overall, like, yes, this is 2 playoff teams. This is 2 of the best coaches. The game is in Eugene, which I think if this game was in Ohio State, no doubt about it. Like if this was in Columbus, this is Ohio State wins this football game. 8 out of 10 times. I think Ohio State's a better football team. You have to factor in the Ohio State traveling all the way to the West Coast, playing in Eugene, night game too. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rowdy. That is one of the most intimidating environments in all of college football. That is a huge factor in this game, and Ohio State has not been in that kind of environment this season just yet with a brand new quarterback. So it's going to be it's going to be a good football game. And guess what? Dylan Gabriel plays big in big time games. We just talked about Texas Oklahoma last year, and the dude balled out. So he's kind of the X factor for Oregon in this game. Has the 5 games been enough for him to get used to the new offense, the new players around him, and then go out there and have a similar game to what he had a year ago when he faced Texas at Oklahoma?
That's one thing that I find to be kind of interesting here, Aaron, is are you willing to say that I think both these quarterbacks have big wins on their resumes? Obviously beating Texas last year for Gabriel was huge, and how he did it, right? Leading that game-winning drive, gotta have it, making the plays. But then also, Will Howard beat TCU to win the Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
Remember that. That's an undefeated TCU team going to the playoff. Kansas State had maybe already lost 2 or 3 games at that moment, and Will Howard engineered a win. Now, I don't remember him having the heroic moments that Gabriel did, but like I just don't want to completely gloss over the fact that Howard's been in a really big stage before as well, and played well in that.
But can we agree that Dillon's the better quarterback of the two, though? Like if you had to choose which quarterback you want, I'm picking Dillon.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, if we chose which defense we want, we're picking Ohio State.
Yes. Well, I think you're picking Ohio State for a lot of things in this game. You know, I think you're picking Ohio State for running backs. You're picking Ohio State for receivers, and Oregon's great at receivers. Like Tez is having a great year. The kid from A&M that transferred to Oregon's kind of been so-so this year. Hasn't really done a lot. I think you're picking Ohio State running backs, receivers, and I think overall defense, you're picking Ohio State too. So yeah, once again, like if this game was in Columbus, Ohio State wins it. Ohio State's the better football team. Ohio State has more talent than Oregon right now. It's just the problem is it's going to be in Eugene, and you have a quarterback in Dillon Gabriel who's pretty magical in these moments. Evan Stewart, thank you, bro. Evan Stewart just not nice, man. Yeah, he hasn't really shown up yet.
Yeah, I mean, Tez is averaging 8.6 catches per game for 79 yards. It's 7th in the Big Ten right now. The thing about Oregon's offense is right now, Dillon Gabriel is the most efficient passer in the entire country. I think he's completing like 77% of his passes, somewhere along there. They're getting better every week. They're still missing a little bit of the edge that they had under Bo Nix. They were a bit more explosive. They were a bit better in the red zone, a bit better on third down. That said, like I said, they've been getting better every week. But what they're running into in Ohio State, statistically on the defense, is mind-blowing. So Ohio State right now is only giving up 6.8 points per game. That is number 1 in the country. They're only giving up 72 rush yards per game. That is number 3 in the country. They're only giving up 129 pass yards per game. That is number 4 in the country. They lead the Big Ten with 3.4 sacks per game. They only allow opponents' offenses to convert 30% of their third downs. That is 2nd in the Big Ten. You are talking about a defense that is putting up old school 2011 numbers at this point, and they have a couple Big Ten teams that they played. They're not great, you know. Who was it? Michigan State and
Iowa.
And Iowa, right? Yeah, and we all know about.
And you know how I feel about your boy now at Michigan State too. Watching him for the past couple of weeks.
Aiden Chili's is great, dude. He's young. Let my guy fucking grow a little bit, dude. He's trying to resuscitate a program destroyed by Mel Tucker's horniness. Give my man a little time, dude. You're mid. How about you don't throw so many picks in Florida, Georgia? How about that?
I still won the game. But yeah, I agree. I wish I didn't. I'm 100% with you. I wish I didn't. I'm surprised they invited me to be in the Hall of Fame for that game with how bad I played. Bro, I think they just looked at the record and said, "Oh, you're 3-1. You must have done great."
If you go 3-1, you get in the Georgia Florida Hall of Fame, 100%. News says asterisk on all those Ohio State stats. I mean, no, a little bit, but like
we know they're going to be that good on defense. Like we all knew that this was an elite defense a year ago. They returned the majority of them. Plus, you got one of the best players in college football from Alabama to now be your starting safety. This defense was only going to get better. So I don't think this was just because it's Iowa and just because it's Michigan State that the stats are skewed. Like, no, this defense is maybe the best defense in the country. You have a defense, and then you have a run game. You got exactly what you need to go on the road and win this football game in Eugene.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Defensive running ball travels, right?
Damn right.
Like it may not be 6.8 points. You know, see, like World Paints is a little bit like Ole Miss stats for Kentucky. I disagree. Now I do agree. Look, it's not going to be 6.8 points per game, right? No. It's not going to be that absurd. But like Aaron said, we already thought this was probably the best defense in the country. So watching them do this is not surprising.
They only gave up 11 points per game a year ago defensively for Ohio State.
The more surprising part to me would be if Oregon, whose O-line has left a lot to be desired. Now they shuffled things around. They've moved in a new center. They shuffled everybody around him. I think I read something where they gave up like 6 or 7 sacks first couple weeks. In the last 3 games since, I think it's maybe down to 1 sack. But still, they ain't faced anything like this. I'm worried about that Oregon offensive line. How did Michigan beat Ohio State? Because they were tougher, they were able to run the ball, and they could completely control the flow of the game. I don't see look, I don't think Oregon's going to be able to run it on him, Aaron. Is there a world where Oregon can create that game control with their efficient passing attack?
Well, that's how that is their run game, though. I mean, that is their run game. It's a Dinkin, it's a Duncan.
So
there's a reason why
against Ohio State to control.
100%. Because of Gabriel. Because Gabriel's very experienced in this type of offense. He is accurate with the football. I mean, he's 130 for 167. That is wild stats throwing the football. So
that is exactly what Bo Nix was pretty much. So that 77% completion percentage. That's what he was in this offense.
Well, and that goes back to what we talked about earlier. This is for every underdog. This is unless you're playing an offense it doesn't matter about time of possession. Time of possession is still a big deal. It's not like Ohio State is this up tempo, fast paced offense that can score in 3 or 4 seconds. They are still an offense that moves the ball methodically down the field. So if you can eliminate possessions by staying on the field with Dylan's legs, with these quick passes, I know Oregon wants to go fast at times, but this is a game where I kind of slow it down a little bit. Make sure your defense is nice and rested. Allow the crowd to get their energy back for when they're back on defense as well. That way it's nice and loud and juicy from an environment standpoint. But that's the key for all these underdogs. You got to eat the clock up. And I think this offense and his legs can allow you to do that a little bit. Because I'm still not a believer in Will Howard. If there's a big question mark in this football game for me, it's not Oregon's offensive line. It's not Oregon's defense. It's not any of it. It is truly, for me,
it's got to be Oregon's offensive line a little bit. No,
a little bit, but I'm saying my biggest is still, I don't know how good Will Howard is. I really don't. He may go out there in this football game and throw 3 picks and Oregon wins it by 10 points. That is very much possible in happening in this football game.
Now that's interesting because I shut that down in the Texas conversation, but that's definitely at play here.
That's 100% at play here.
Will Howard could choke this thing away, potentially. How about this? It's going to be very interesting. I wonder how many times Ohio State runs the ball this game.
Oregon's losses last year? They were just to Washington because Penix was freaking amazing.
No, I think they ran the ball. I think Washington ran. Look at the box scores. Washington ran the ball very well against Oregon last year.
I mean, Penix in the first game was 22 of 37, 302, and 4 touchdowns.
What they do run it? What did Dylan Johnson do first game?
He ran 100 yards, 2,400.
Yeah, that's
so balanced, but Penix still went off.
But they always had balance. The like that was the good part about. That's what I was always impressed with DeBoer Washington from afar. Is they, even though it wasn't as explosive, they'd always run it 30 times a game.
But I also think Oregon probably went into that game expecting to stop the pass, probably played a little bit lighter in the box, where I do think this is a game where it's different mentality for Oregon. It's we're at home. We don't know if this guy is not Michael Penix Jr., so we're going to stop the run because they got 2 elite running backs and force him to throw the football, where I think it was the opposite mentality versus Washington.
Yes, and look, the Duck Knight, that's a great name, by the way, in the chat says lost to Penix by 3 twice. Washington ran well in the second game when the Ducks tried to lock in on the pass. So that's kind of what I remember. So that's the thing. Right now, Travian Henderson leads the Big Ten, averaging 8 yards a carry. Quinshon Judkins is 4th at 7.8 yards a carry. But, Aaron, only a combined 20 attempts a game.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a bit that they've been getting out of these games because they've been killing teams, so they get a little rest early on. But I have to imagine if I'm Ohio State, I'm coming out here because of what we just said. You're on the road, Will Howard, that could be how you lose. I'm running the fuck out of the rock. And I'm going to make you prove that you can stop me there. And then I'll get to Will Howard and I'll run Will Howard.
Yep.
I'll have him running as well. But yeah, if I'm Ohio State, I'm trying to run the ball, rely on my defense, and let that be my path to victory.
I'm going to go with Oregon to win this football game. I think Will Howard is going to fuck up a couple times. I think Ohio State is the better overall roster, but to me, the game being in Eugene and just trusting Gabriel in moments like this, I think Will Howard's going to mess up a couple times, and I think the game's going to be too close where that's going to be the difference.
Do you have these spreads in front of you?
3
to Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ohio State wins. I think they are. Oregon's just looked too flawed for me this year. And granted, they looked flawed against a schedule that's not that dissimilar from what Ohio State's played. So give me Ohio State, and I'll take Ohio State to cover the 3. So Aaron, with the straight Oregon money line call, big time. Clinton Moses, according to both fan bases, they've been holding back. Yeah, classic. I mean, that's everybody, right? That's what everybody always says.
I mean, the score's been that different. Ohio State beat Michigan State 38-7. Oregon beat them 31-10.
No. I'm talking about Oregon. I'm still talking about Idaho and Boise. You can say it's
whatever. Boise State's a good damn football team. Like, that's
and you needed 2 non-offensive touchdowns to win the game. Otherwise, you'd already have an L by your name. Ohio State.
Let's go.
That's
Ducks.
fine. Yeah. I mean, look, to your point, the Oregon team Saturday is not at all the Oregon team that I am giving negative marks to. Yes. But still, I think Ohio State's better as well, and I think they're gaining in confidence. And we can't go through all of this and not mention Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
They probably have the biggest freak on the field in Jeremiah Smith. And that's not even get into Ibuka and stuff. So yeah, give me the Buckeyes, and to cover the 3. All right, next on the list, Florida at Tennessee. And look, guys, I know that last week I said I was sure that Tennessee would beat Arkansas because they run the ball elite level, they stop the run at an elite level, and they have the playmakers and a quarterback that can make plays they have to. So what's weird is Tennessee did run the ball elite. They did stop the run at an elite level. It's just that the playmakers didn't show up. That last part, right? When you had to, like what Aaron said, when you have to have Nico make a play, is he empowered to? Is he confident enough to? And Aaron, that's after listening to you talk about it the other day, like, because I think Tennessee wins this game. We can get into Florida. 100%. I think Florida's still deeply flawed. I absolutely think Tennessee wins. What matters more to me and what I'm watching more for is how does Tennessee look within this game? Can you start to unlock Nico once again? Give him some of that power to push the ball downfield, to throw into tight windows that he seemed to have early on that, like you talked about, he kind of looks like he's lost a little bit lately.
Oh, he definitely has lost a little bit of that almost gunslinger mentality. Go out there knowing that I am this elite quarterback and I'm just going to go out there and play like it. Now it's kind of like, okay, I'm playing not to make a mistake because I know how good my team is and I don't want to be the one that costs them a victory. And you could play too conservative where then you are costing your team a victory because you're not letting it rip. So I want to see him go out there against a really bad Florida defense. I mean, this is a piss poor defense.
I know, dude.
Against the pass, against the run, you're at home. The only problem for Tennessee is how healthy are they at receiver. But they're deep. I mean, that's what Heupel said it all year long. We got 6 or 7 or 8 receivers that we feel good with. Well, okay, then like let's roll the ball out there and see how good your second team guys are at receiver and how much that chemistry works.
Are they actually going to have to rely on those guys at all this game? Because I'm looking at a Florida team that allows 172 rush yards a game. Tennessee.
But I'm just going back to what you said, though, of like building Nico's confidence back up. Like, I think this is still a good game to start to do that. Like, you don't want to, you need to stop. I hope so, because at some point you got to stop protecting him or you're going to lose another football game, if not 2, as TBob goes away. But if you're Heupel, you're not building this roster right now to just beat Florida. You're building this roster and you're building Nico up to beat Georgia, to beat Alabama. Like, you can't just say, hey, we're going to play conservative and protect Nico versus Florida, and then we're going to roll the ball next week versus Alabama, and he's just going to go off.
Yeah.
Like, you have to start getting him back into shape and form like he looked like for Chattanooga and NC State and Kent State, because now it's been 2 weeks of now a downward, not spiral, but going backwards. It's not even just Georgia and Alabama. It's Kentucky too in their defense.
Regression. Yeah, it's been regression.
So he's got to get better.
So if we want to play the crafty argument game, how would Florida win this game? Because Florida has stabilized all right. I keep picking them the fuck up. Like I picked against them in the Mississippi State game, which was maybe just wishful thinking because that would have been hilarious. I picked against them in UCF, thinking that maybe Gus would.
Even with how bad UCF looked versus Colorado.
Yeah, bro. I don't know, man. I think I'm just trying to I don't know. I think I'm guilty of just shitting on Florida too hard, right? Yeah. So they've stabilized okay. They're playing okay. Lagway and Mertz both playing is working okay. What's the path if Florida's going to somehow pull off an upset?
I mean, can they figure out the defense in a week? I just don't see that happen. I mean, the path is Nico is playing the way he did the past 2 weeks. Like that is it. The path is Florida's defense says we're balls to the wall. We're going to put our safeties and DBs about 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. We're going to be super aggressive downhill, stop the run, and we're going to see what Nico's confidence looks like. And then that's it. Because Florida has to sell it to the run. If Florida cannot play this game to sit back and let that front seven see if they can stop Tennessee's offensive line, Tennessee will mow them down. So this game is going to be put into Nico's hands. At least if I'm Florida, I'm doing this. I'm going to put the ball in Nico's hands and see what he does and if he's phased out from after the past 2 games.
The problem is, even if you want to sell out to stop Tennessee's rushing attack, can you? Like, can you
I think
still?
They can if they sell out. Yes. We're going to find out. It's a bit.
It's
better to sell out than just sit back and accept it.
I know, but I'm saying you know more about offense than me. I'm saying, like, with the offense that Tennessee runs, if you sell out, doesn't that mean you're literally just going to not have somebody even covering someone on the outside?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, but you're
so far to the edge. You're just. I guess we'll just leave them alone out there. We got to add to the box.
Yeah. Look what Oklahoma did. Say it again. Oklahoma put their safeties at about 10 yards in depth. And they just said, we don't think your receivers are as good as everyone thinks they are. And we don't think Nico's as good as everyone thinks he is.
Yeah.
And obviously Oklahoma's a way better defense than Florida. But I'm just saying from a schematical game plan, like that was their game plan.
Schematical is a good word. I think you just made that. It's definitely not a word, but I fucking love it. From a schematical standpoint, you know, it's look, Oklahoma laid out the blueprint.
Schematics, it's from a schematic standpoint.
Yeah, I like schematical. Just schematic. I like schematical too.
Sounds better though.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Like fuck you, Webster.
I really like DJ Lagway. Golly. I think Graham's playing great, but like DJ's just like Graham is efficient. Graham is everything that you've said.
There is
100%.
such
100%. 100%.
It is
DJ's a beast.
It is becoming a snaps trope for Aaron to say that he likes the Florida quarterbacks after just talking about how bad Florida is forever. And then just throw in but I love the quarterbacks.
I do like the quarterbacks.
Mertz, love Lagway.
Does anyone in the chat know if Eugene Wilson's going to actually play in this football game?
You know what? I'm going to say it doesn't matter. You know?
Probably not.
There's no way Florida wins the game. And it's at Tennessee. Tennessee's hungry for a bounce back here. What is it, my
watch stats and get a schematical advantage? 100%. Take that to the water cooler.
Yeah, you will get a schematical advantage. I fucking agree, especially if they start letting us do film again. All right. Next up on our list,
spread is 15 and a half.
What is it?
It's 15 and a half. I'll pick Florida to cover. Tennessee wins, Florida covers.
I don't know why, dude. I'm just feeling so lopsided on all these games. I'm once again going to go for the big cover. I go for Tennessee to cover the 15 and a half. Especially at, well, exactly. You should, dude. Parlay all my picks. You're going to be it's basically printing free money. By the way, guys, if you're watching live, please hit the like button. If you're not subbed to the channel, please consider subbing if you enjoy it. Send it to your friends, family. We continue to grow the channel. The road to 26K continues. We've slowed down a little bit since the film review stopped, but we're still making good progress, guys. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We really want to try to hit 30K. If we could get close to 30K by the end of this month, I don't know how realistic it is. That would be incredible. We'll keep pushing them. Next up on the list, Penn State, USC. This is an odd game. USC is an odd team to me, Aaron.
Very, very odd.
I still like a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have great playmakers. You know that they're first in the Big Ten in opponent third down percentage. Like D'Anton Lynn is actually doing incredible things with that defense. Like the USC defense is legit. They have great playmakers on offense. I feel like Miller Moss is courageous as a quarterback, and he attacks and he throws into tight windows. And I love the fact that they came all the way back against Michigan. I love how dominant the comeback was against Wisconsin. But then it's like they lose to a Michigan team that we learn is way more flawed than we thought. And then you lose to a Minnesota team that really maybe Miller Moss's courage gets you into trouble with the 2 picks in the fourth. It's like in a weird way.
The first pick was not his fault. He got hit, but yeah, I agree.
I just feel like USC's almost better than their record says, which is dumb. That said, the 2 teams that they did lose to, Penn State is those teams times 3.
Yes.
Like it is that Michigan. It's the meme that I mentioned earlier this week. I wish I could credit where I saw it on Twitter, but somebody said, "Oh, USC, you hated playing Utah. You just joined a conference full of Utah." And Penn State may be the most fucking Utah of the entire bunch. I think USC's in real trouble at home here.
All right, Michigan ran for 290 yards in that football game. Last week, Minnesota in their game ran for 193 yards. At the moment, versus FBS teams, USC is giving up 160 yards per game on the ground. I agree with you. I like this USC football team. I think they're better than a year ago. I like the offense. I like the defense, but they're just still not ready week in and week out to play teams like this, to play a team that is as stacked and is playing as well as Penn State is right now on both sides of the football. I mean, Penn State at the moment with those 2 running backs, the way Drew's playing at the quarterback position, taking care of the football, he's been accurate, adds that next dynamic to this offense where it's not just Singleton and Katron Allen running the football. It's a really good offense. You know what I've said about Penn State? Like, I've been very impressed with this football team and with Drew's progress this year with the new offense, and we knew how good the defense was going to be. So I think you said it best. Penn State's Michigan and Minnesota on steroids, and you couldn't get it done in those games. I don't trust you to get it done in this one. You can't outthink it.
Road. Yeah, you can't overthink this one. I mean, again, and you say I agree. Aller makes it more than Singleton and Katron Allen, but also Singleton, 4th in the Big Ten, averaging 102 yards per game on just 13 carries. Katron Allen, 10th in the Big Ten, averaging 73 on just 14 carries. Like, it's a 2-headed monster that almost nobody else has. And now you've got a much better quarterback play with Aller. The defense is great. Look, if Penn State comes out and dominates this game, Aaron, do we start considering them as tier 1? Because I think we had them still at tier 2.
They were my number 1 tier 2 team.
Oh, that's right. Yes, they were number 1 tier 2 team. So if they go out and dominate this game, do they get bumped up into tier 1 championship contenders?
I want to see what Ohio State and Oregon look like in that football game, and to get a better feel for what level Penn State's on. But no, I think they have a quarterback playing at a high level. They got running backs. The receivers are better than they were a year ago. Defense is still really, really darn good. It'd be a very quality win on the road against a quality opponent in USC. I would still probably keep them in the spot they're in right now. I would still say tier 2. I want to wait till they play Ohio State on November 2nd before we know if this is a true contender, because they've done this every year. They win all these games, but they still can't compete with Ohio State. They can't compete with Michigan.
I mean, I guess it's a weird thing to say right after USC loses to Minnesota, but I do think that USC is still a step above the average Big Ten team.
They just lost to Minnesota. You can't say that.
I think I can.
No, you can't.
I think I can because I
They
just
just
did.
lost
Yeah.
to Minnesota. No,
I know, but
no.
it's like saying no offense. I said I know this sounds weird saying this. I said that before I said it. So you have to excuse the fact that they lost to Minnesota because I just told you you had to. I don't think you understand how language works.
Okay, I get it.
Um,
They will not move to tier 1 until they play a competitive game versus Ohio State in 2 weeks. Until then, they will be number 1 in the tier 2 list for me.
The other day, $5 super chat. Sorry if already covered, but what's the status of the Big Ten allowing film review? Go Big Red. Fucking go Big Red indeed, baby. Massive win over Rutgers. First win that has really kickstarted the Matt Rule like we are different now era. It's thumbs down though. The Big Ten especially is a thumbs down. The latest is that we may be able to do some TV copy stuff if it's an ESPN game. But we will see. If not, I think we should bring back playing each other on stream on NCAA on Wednesdays. But Aaron's a coward, and he's come up with some bullshit about it's fucking up the algorithm just because he was getting sick of losing.
I literally asked you if you wanted to play last week, but okay.
What?
Yeah,
What?
Yeah.
Guess what? That's true, actually. All right.
So the line is in this football game. Penn State is favored by 5.5.
I hate it. I hate it because I know I'm wrong somewhere, but I'm going to be right the majority of these places. Again, I like Penn State to cover.
Damn, do you really? I like USC to cover.
Plus the 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really not a Penn State believer then at all.
No, I am a Penn State believer. I just think USC is a good team, and it's all. What are Big Ten teams right now on the road this year? 1-8. 1-8. So I'm taking that into account too. Teams, and that's just traveling across the country. Penn State is literally going from Pennsylvania all the way to Los Angeles. That is a long trip.
You know what I always think about,
long trip.
You know what I always think about though? How good would that LA weather feel? It's probably Well, I don't know what it is.
Pennsylvania probably feels good about it right now, though. It's probably like in the 50s, 60s. Good football weather.
Yeah.
Probably going to be warm in LA for these guys.
Maybe you're right. I don't know. I've never lived anywhere that isn't just like hellscape hot.
The road team is 1-8 traveling 3 time zones. So, like, I think US and Penn State's been a little bit slow at the gates this season. They pick it up in the second half. I think USC at home, good team. I think they can keep it close. So I like USC with the points.
Okay. I think that feels like the smarter pick. I'll cede that point. Like I feel like gambling experts would more agree with your pick. But again, I'm just going to stick with memes. And Penn State is the most Utah team possible. They are the raid level boss when it comes to Utah's. USC's getting cooked.
And golly, I don't know what's up with his damn internet for TBob. All right, let's get to our next game. I think he's a little bit scared. That's why he went out on that one. You ready to get to a little?
I don't know why my StreamYard keeps shutting out. Also, how did we just drop like 500 viewers? Did somebody's Twitter go out or something?
No, I still see over 1,000 over here.
Oh, never mind. My numbers. Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. All right. Next on the list, Ole Miss at LSU. And I got to be clear about this, Aaron. Objectively, Ole Miss should win this game.
Yes.
They are the gambling favorite. If you look at analytics, it's even more extreme. So you remember our guy, Colin Wilson, he used to give us those great spreadsheet statistical breakdowns of where each team had the advantage. So my guy, Emil, was sending me 3 or 4 different versions of breakdowns like that, advanced analytic breakdowns. And when I tell you everything favors heavy Ole Miss on paper, I mean everything, dude. Like every single system that I've looked at gives Ole Miss like a 67 to 70% chance of winning this game. So Ole Miss,
the one weakness for the one weakness Ole Miss we've seen this year is the O-line. What is LSU not good at? Defense in front.
No, but they're good at but they got good DNs. Braden's,
yeah, they do.
They're third in the SEC in sacks.
I do like that. How many times have you said sacks don't fucking matter?
What?
How many times on the show have you said sacks don't matter?
I didn't say sacks don't matter.
Okay.
I've said sacks fuck up Ole Miss's rush defense numbers because Ole Miss is the number one. Dude, Ole Miss leads the nation
No,
in
but how many
sacks
times have
right
you said
now.
on this chat like, "Oh, LSU led the conference or nation"?
Well, no. So, but that wasn't sacks don't matter. And last year's LSU defense sacks didn't matter because you would give up 3rd and 15. This year's defense doesn't do that. Like this year's defense can actually get off the field if you create a negative play. No, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. Last year's defense, if you had 3rd and 11, it was a 95% chance you were converting. It was horrible.
Who is dead last in the SEC in pass defense?
Probably is it LSU? Sounds like you're setting me up to say LSU.
I'm
yeah.
Just setting you up to say LSU.
Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna ever I like at the quarterback club, I chose Ole Miss to win this game. I cannot paint you a picture on paper as to why. I mean, okay, well, whatever. I can craft long odds things, right? Like we can play the game that we played with Florida or that we played early on, right? Be like, here's LSU's path. But I'm not gonna be able to just sit here and be like, look, objectively, this is what I see on paper as to why LSU wins that game. I think Ole Miss's greatest strengths directly line up with LSU's greatest weaknesses. The secondary is not good.
No.
Ole Miss has Trey Harris. Now, Trey Harris's availability is a massive part of this game. He left after the first half last week, did not come back. Lane Kiffin, I think, playing a bit coy, talked about how, we're preparing like we're not going to have him. And we got to get ready. I don't fully believe that. I'll be interested to see what he puts in the official SEC injury report. But like Trey Harris is the statistically the best wide receiver in the country right now.
Yes.
And if you look at Ole Miss's receiving numbers, it's kind of crazy, Aaron. It's not even really close. So Trey Harris right now has 52 catches for 885 yards
through 6 games.
5.5.
Oh my
52
God.
catches. Juice Wells has 17.
He's going to have over 100 receptions this season in the regular season.
Juice Wells has 17. Caden Lee has 17. So that is something to watch. If there is no Trey Harris, that's a massive break for LSU. That said, I think he plays. And I think Ole Miss's offense. Now, I will say this. How do you feel about this? Ole Miss defense has not seen an offense nearly as good as LSU.
No. They have
not even close.
Not even close. I don't know what the over-under on this football game is. I'll look at it right now. It's going to be a high-scoring football game. I think Ole Miss's defense is better than it was a year ago. Still not elite by any standards. And this is I love LSU's offense right now. And then they're healthy at the running back position, the offensive line, Mason Taylor, the receivers. Obviously, Garrett's playing at a high level. So this will be an extremely high-scoring game. The question is, who makes a big mistake? And then how rowdy are the LSU fans? Because if this environment is incredible and it's loud and it's intimidating, you know this better than anyone else playing in that stadium. Night games in Baton Rouge just hit different, and weird shit happens.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's funny. That was the whole joke this morning on the show, was like the get hard game, because like the crowd, this is one of those games, like Kirby's getting mad at the crowd. This is one of those games where the crowd has to show up, right?
Yep.
Look at A&M Mizzou last week. Brady Cook wants to talk all that shit. It's not that loud. We make it louder in practice. Okay, well, you went in there and pissed down your leg, and you got pre-snap penalties, and you looked like garbage. So, like, yes. Now, I will say I'm very impressed with Ole Miss going into Williams-Brice and staring that thing down like it was nothing.
I need you to vamp for 2 minutes on LSU Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah, I got you. You're fine. Go for it.
I got to go put a new movie on for little man. Dad daycare today. It's fall camp, and he's screaming because his first movie's over.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Teach him how to work the remote. That's what I do with my kid. But yeah, so, okay, I kind of want Aaron to bounce against these points, though. So I'm going to wait. John says LSU is better on defense now without Perkins, trying to turn Perkins into an inside linebacker who's killing the Tigers. Okay, I can explore this for a second, because I don't think you're not better without Harold Perkins. Harold Perkins is a talent that you would have found the correct way to use him eventually. And he had a role to play, right? I mean, even if it's something as simple as a QB spy, like maybe him like with extended time at the star role, you're not better. Now, you are better at inside linebacker, if you want to say that, because Greg Penn and Whit Weeks are better at that position. But you're not better overall because you lost Harold Perkins. The defense, though, we have a bit of correlation causation. The defense for LSU has been getting better week to week, but that's because they're very young and they're just improving with more time on task. You're still muted.
I love Weeks at linebacker.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like LSU's better at linebacker because they were playing Perk out of position. I'm just arguing you're not better that you lose Harold Perkins. You're just better at linebacker. And the reason why the defense as a whole has looked better, though, is more because you just have young guys that have more time on task.
Well, it's a new defensive team, new schematics, should get better.
So
who's winning?
I think Ole Miss wins this game, but here's the path for LSU. First off, it starts with the home field advantage. Secondly, be this. Ole Miss has not seen an offense like LSU's. In fact, right now, LSU and Bill Connolly's S&P Plus, the number 3 offense in the country on the S&P. So they haven't seen an offense like this. And like I said, Ole Miss leads the nation in sacks. Well, that should be, in theory, LSU's greatest strength is Will Campbell and Emory Jones being able to stop Princely Umanmielen and Jared Ivey. So offensively, I think LSU should have success. And then defensively, it's just kind of like, is there no Trey Harris? Right? If there's no Trey Harris, then maybe you got a shot. But like,
I think if there's no Trey Harris, I'll pick LSU. If there's Trey Harris, I'm going Ole Miss.
What's the spread here?
3.5 Ole Miss.
I mean, if you're giving me 3 and a hook in Death Valley in this game, I'm definitely taking the 3 and a hook gambling.
Yes.
But yeah, look, I mean, Ole Miss should be better, but hey, pressure's on them. And it's fascinating. If Ole Miss wins, then everything's all good. All the Kentucky losses are forgiven. It's a massive win in a place that they haven't won I think since like 2008 or 9 or something like 2008. And then they're right back on the road to the playoff. If LSU wins, it's kind of the same because right now the AP is telling you they think LSU sucks because everybody lost this weekend. LSU did not move. Right. And that's because people think LSU's kind of fake and they just are where they are because they were preseason. And I don't disagree with that. Right. Look at common opponents. The loss to USC's gotten worse and worse. LSU barely beat South Carolina, almost handled South Carolina.
South Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see it. But you got to do it in Death Valley. You got to do it.
Are you sad you can't go to the game like in the stadium?
Nah, because
really?
Don Juan's gonna be so fucking lit, dude. The cigar bar,
wild.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But so is the cigar bar. It's gonna be like, oh my god, we're gonna be fucking running through brick walls and shit, dude. When I tell you, I already can feel my balls in my fucking throat. I'm so fucking fired up, dude. I might fight someone, dude. I'll say this to anybody on the street that sees me out. Don't fucking meet me in the A gap right now. You don't want to see that shit. You don't. I fucking promise you, bud.
Don't do it. Don't fucking do it.
That meme?
Hardwood, baby.
Guy?
Hardwood.
You ain't that guy. You ain't that fucking guy. Not this week.
They're adding a new Aaron from No Judge. Aaron, they're adding a new golf simulator and bar by my house. Gonna start watching games there. That's nice. That's nice. Also, from Ashley earlier in the chat, Aaron, did you help any Tampa strippers evacuate?
Yeah, dude. Are you looking out for your hometown?
Yeah, damn right. They're welcome. Come on. Maddox got to grow up at some point. Maddox got to grow up at some point. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, just like your mom told you back in the day, Aaron, just don't fall in love with her, okay? Look, she's just be careful. Make sure you wear your condoms. I don't want you coming home with a young little schnitzel.
Have you seen the new Netflix show? Oh, what is it called? Oh, we just
No,
started last night. It's about a rabbi that starts dating this podcast girl.
no,
Oh
that
my
sounds
god,
great.
the Jewish mother's hilarious in it.
Does it remind
Great
you of
show.
your mother?
My mom's not as Jewish. Yes, my
Yeah.
mom is Jewish. Brodo Baggins, the Jewish mama.
I had like a Larry David moment where I'm at this bed and breakfast in Savannah, and I guess I left my headphones downstairs during wine and cheese hour. And so the next morning, I'm asking for my headphones, and the woman's like, "Oh yeah, um, the guy said like that if a customer came ask for him, just tell him that he borrowed him." And I was like, "What?" I was like, I was like, "I gotta leave at like 11:30. Can he bring it back?" And she's like, I don't know if he's gonna be able to get back here by then. And
Mm.
I'm going like, wait a second, hold on now. That feels like you stole my headphones.
This is mine, bitch. Oh.
No, I don't think he borrowed it, man. I think he stole them. But look, granted, he did end up he ended up bringing it back by 11:30. So my guy really did just borrow them. I was very happy to have him.
A-Barge, yes, the show, not the conversation, but nobody wants this is the show. So if you and your wife need a new show, T-Bob, lighter, funny,
Okay.
I think you'll like it a lot. Because we just got done watching Monsters about the two brothers who killed their parents.
I keep hearing about these guys, the Mendez brothers. I know shit
the
about
Mendez,
them.
but it was some dark shit. We're like, we need something lighter after that. Like it was fucking depressing for like a week of watching that. I'm just like, I'm drained. So this is a good chill watch.
I am doing so I finished Rings of Power and it was
It's fucking Wi-Fi. Again. I still don't get Rings of Power. So don't get it just yet. All right. Well, I think that is going to do it for today's show. We'll probably touch on the Kansas State Colorado game tomorrow, a couple other topics as well. Appreciate everyone joining us here again this afternoon. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central for another Snaps to get you ready for the weekend. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. See ya.